turning pain into progress. You need people that are willing to run towards the gunfire, whether that be literal or figurative. You need to be able to chase the pain. Don't run from it. It's going to be there one way or the other. It's better to face it than to have it find you on something that's not on your terms. I always say in the teams is don't go chasing the dragon will find you. It's the same thing. Chase things that are painful, chase things that are hard, do things that are difficult, take the high road and the hard road, and you will be all the better for it. Not just for you, but for those people around you.
What's up, Warriors? It's Coach Rob, and welcome to the Battle Harder podcast. In this conversation, I sat down with former Marine, Navy SEAL, and Westside Barbell powerlifter Tommy Richardson. We spoke about the real stuff that men are currently struggling with right now. Suicidal thoughts, losing your identity after the military or the job ends, being a husband and a father while you're still fighting your own demons, and why becoming physically strong and spiritually grounded is a non-negotiable. If you want to lead your family, if you ever felt like you're supposed to be tougher than what you're carrying inside, this one's for you. Let's lock in and battle harder with Tommy Richardson. So I'd like to welcome to the show Tommy Richardson. Tommy, thank you so much for joining me on the Battle Harder podcast today.
Man, thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
For you guys that don't know, Tommy is, or was, I say is because Navy SEALs are always Navy SEALs. They don't tend to not be Navy SEAls. So Tommy, former Navy SEAls. Before that, he decided to be a crayon eater and be a jarhead in the Marine Corps. I don't know what crazy sons of bitches decide to become Marines, but Marines end up being some of my best friends. Marines transition to Navy SEAL to Westside Barbell contributor. And guys, if you don't know shit about Westside Barbell, then I got nothing for you, because in the strength and conditioning fitness world, Westside Barbell is king. I've learned a lot and I've absorbed a lot of content from them. He also owns Divine Savagery, where he does keynote speaking, he does coaching, leadership, everything that a Navy SEAL does, only in the civilian world. Tommy, besides that, is there anything else you'd like to tell my community that you currently do?
I say I try to limit the crayon eating, but I really don't, because, some things you just never forget. But nah, man, just doing health and wellness as best I possibly can, doing some strength training. I do some tactical work too, because I can't put the guns down. So, but like working with the mind, body, and spirit, brother. It's all good stuff.
So how, and I don't want to go too much into the military thing because I burn it out all the time with the other veterans. And I know there's some veterans and first responders are like, yeah, they get, sure, they love this shit. But I want to talk about other things that I think are just as important.
Sure.
What was your MOS in the Marine Corps? And how, and infantry, you guys are all infantry, man. I swear, like, give me the gun, I want to kill.
Well, you're going to join the Marines. They always tell you that the rest of the Marine Corps is in support of the infantry. So why wouldn't you want to go infantry?
And Navy's in support of the Marine Corps. So there we go.
It's the department.
So how long?
It's all good.
How long infantry before you decided to join the SEALs?
About 9.5 years, man.
Oh, wow. That's a long time. So one thing I want to highlight that I heard on one of your other podcasts, you entered BUD/S pretty late in age, right?
I turned 30 at BUD/S, yeah.
Were you the grandpa? Like, were you the oldest dude there? Or?
Yeah, I was the oldest and the biggest. But no, I wasn't the oldest. There was one cat that was 34, wow, but he washed out due to injuries. Just his body wasn't hacking it, man.
So, like, at 30 years old and going through this intense training, like, what was going through your mind or mindset? What kept you pushing through to actually graduate BUD/S and become a SEAL, or are you just crazy as fuck?
I'm gonna answer all the above. But it was just one of those things, man, is that I got driven into me by the guy that trained me to be relentless and to never stop and never quit. And my two boys, Morgan and Marcus Luttrell, that I grew up with, we all trained together before going in. I couldn't let them down. I couldn't let my family down. And if I start something, I'm going to finish it. And I'm going to finish it hard. And it was one of those things. And I actually had to put my, money where my mouth was. And I was like, it's going to have to kill me. And I was in a situation to where it almost did at Hell Week. So it's just one of those things, man. Is that I'm going to push it until I can't push it anymore. I mean, even now, almost 27 years later, I'm competing in powerlifting. So crazy, stupid, whatever. You mean synonymous sometimes, walks a fine line between both. You know, I just can't quit. I got to keep pushing. I've got to keep challenging myself. I've trailblazed things, break records, do whatever it is I need to do. But I mean, man, there was nothing stopping me. Once I got it locked into my head, I was going to go and I was going to give it my absolute all. If they said beat it, then hey, man, I can't say I didn't give it everything, but I did.
So with that being said, I mean, everybody has failure in their life. When you have failure, how do you handle it then? Because I mean, you were an elite level operator. You're currently a powerlifting athlete. I mean, you're operating at a high level now. It seems even out of the military. What does failure look like to you?
Well, I see failure, and I tell people this too, when I'm talking to folks, is I see failing. There's a difference between failing and being a failure. Failing is nothing more than a step or a rung on the ladder to a success. That's all it is. It's you fail until you win. And and that's part of the forging process as a human being. So you have to take that fail, whatever it is, learn from it and improve upon it and keep going. No feelings, no hard feelings, no nothing about it. It's just, you know that it's coming. You've just got to go, all right, I understand that fail is going to happen in some way, shape, or form. How I handle it, that's up to me. And the way I handle it is a stepping stone, a step ladder, a rung on the ladder to getting what I need and getting to my goal. That's it. Failure is when you quit, and that's not a freaking option.
Yeah, I always say it's not considered a failure until you like ultimately give up and say, I'm not doing this anymore. But if you keep going every day, win, lose, or draw, as long as you keep going, that's still a win, and that's still a step in the right direction. So you mentioned you grew up with the Luttrells, and once again, guys, these things, Westside Barbell, Marcus Luttrell, if you haven't heard any of these things, I don't know where you've been living, maybe in a cave somewhere. Did you go to Buds with Marcus Luttrell?
No, Marcus, Morgan and I were still in school. Marcus quit school to go to Buds. He entered the Navy about a year before the rest of us. Of course, I went Marines first, but before Morgan did. Morgan went ahead and graduated. So yeah, no, Marcus went first.
And like, did he give you shit for being a Marine when he went into the Navy? Or
well, I mean, when you're a new guy, you can't really talk too much trash. I remember when he came back from Buds, and Morgan and I were still training with Billy Shelton and Conroe. You know, he came back with a pretty big chip on his shoulder, but there were still some things that he wasn't the best at. So as much trash talk, now we always talk trash to each other regardless. I mean, the Luttrell twins are trash talkers from way back, and they're good at it. But I'll match them and probably be a little bit better than them too. But yeah, Marcus came back and talked some mad stuff. But then once we started training and we went on the run, he couldn't beat me. So he may have had me in the pool and had me in that, but running, nah. I freaking blew the doors off of him, and that humbled him real quick, which was pretty cool because then he actually started saying good things, which of course, you know, veterans, it's funny because in the active duty folks is you talk all the trash in front of the face and you talk nice about them behind their back, where in the civilian world it's opposite. Right. So, but yeah, man, it was a cool experience. And you know, growing up with those cats and seeing where both of those dudes have gone.
yeah, I mean, you know, 26 years, that's a long time. I did 10. You know, I wanted to retire, but unfortunately injuries saw otherwise. What happened after you got out? Like, what was the first thing that you decided to do, or what became apparent that was going to be next in your life at that point?
Well, I kind of I started my business while I was still in. I got a waiver from headquarters saying I could have outside employment because I figured I'd have the Navy as a safety net to be able to go out and fail as much as I possibly could because I knew it was coming. And then get to the point to where when it was time to cut out and leave, then I would hopefully be failing less by the time that I got out. So when I started the business, and then just, kind of started taking jobs there, it started with shooting, doing tactical stuff. And then the speaking thing came, and it evolved over time until, it is what it is now. And it's just awesome, man. And it's left me mentally in I think a better place than a lot of guys, because a lot of dudes that try, I mean, hey man, what are you gonna do when you get out? I'm like, oh, figure it out. That usually doesn't put you in too good of a place, because you don't really know. And I got told this too. I mean, Morgan and I had a pretty good conversation. He said, "Dude, it's different, man. Once you get out, it's different." And I was like, I'll be all right. And you know, time that I kind of went through it and was like, oh, all right. I knew there was going to be failing, but I didn't know to what magnitude. That it was a trust thing, man. Like you're in the military, you used to show up on time. People are motivated and they're going to do what they say. What I've learned in the civilian community is that is the exact opposite. People are struggling to show up. Nobody holds to their word, right? It's false promises and kicking a can down the road.
Yep.
And they always want something for them, and it's not something that's necessarily going to build you up, right? Oh, I'll help you out, I'll do this, that, and the other. And I'm like, look, man, I'm grateful for whoever wants to help. And I tell them I'm a firm believer that high tides raise all ships. They don't understand that because they haven't lived that.
Right.
So, you know, it's you find out who your friends are, right? Usually when you're in the most trouble, or when you've hit what you think is a low in life, you're going to find out who's surrounding you that you can trust and count on. But the thing is, I tell a lot of other veterans too, man, is that find a plan before you get out. It's going to make the transition a little bit better. Try to find whoever that tribe is, whoever it is that you can quasi depend on, or at least has a similar mindset. And a lot of times it comes in the form of other vets, man. And I tell them that, I was like, look, the train keeps going. I get it. You step off the train keeps going. Totally get that. But here's the thing. You're not the only one that stepped off the train. And there's other veterans, there's other places, there's other resources. Go online and you can find a whole bunch of different places where vets will gather, and vets helping vets helps build up that population. You'll see guys that they go internal. And I've had team guys, I've had support dudes, I've had all kinds of stuff. Marines, it's like they lose their way, man. It's like, look, that same fire that you had that when you started the military, if you had any bit of that patriotism, all that's still there. So I was like, well, I can stoke the fires. And I love talking to vets because to me, it's easy and it's rewarding, because it's just like, all you got to do is just kick them in the head a little bit, kick them in the teeth, gut punch them, and be like, hey, man, let's keep going. Hey, don't worry about it. We're all hurting. It's okay. We just got to keep going. Eventually, something's going to hit, and it's going to be cool. Or you're going to find that tribe, and then you'll have a brand new friend group. Find your purpose, right? Especially for the combat guys, right? Because they go, oh, well, I'll never have that time with the boys. Well, no, you're never going to have that time again. True. But the thing is that guys use that to define them, instead of using it as something to build them into whatever it's next. Right? So that's not your identity. That's what you did. That's not who you are. That's a step. That's a brick in the fortress that is going to be you when you die. It's all it is. That brick was cool. What could I get from it? Good, bad, and ugly. And how can I use that, just like I used before the military, to help build me into whatever I was in the military? That chapter's closed. Next chapter's open. Now, what are we going to do to find purpose, find direction, and find a crew that can help get me to wherever it is I need to be in order to be fulfilled and do what the good Lord put me on the planet to do? Works out better that way. People are like, oh, that makes sense. I'm here for you, man. Give me a holler. We'll talk. Don't matter. Get me out to whatever group you're at. I'll help talk to them. It doesn't matter. There's a way. You just have to believe and understand that there is one. And sometimes they just don't have it, right? They go internal. And that's the worst thing that you can do. You go internal, you quit thinking about what's important, and that's the other people around you. The more you start thinking about others and the less you start thinking about self, the better you're going to be. Kind of like that goes into that whole servant leadership thing, right? So
Definitely.
You improve yourself to be better for others.
I like that. And that's everything you said. You definitely makes sense. When I got out, and that's the thing, I have friends and people are advocating for better process with TAPS. I do think or believe that from what we do as coaches, especially like me as a personal development coach, there needs to be better things implemented in the military, that when we get out, there's someone that checks on that veteran that got out for like a minimum of 3 months or 6 months. And they have, whether it's a Zoom call or a face-to-face or whatever. Hey, are you keeping your physical fitness, your mental health, emotional health in check? What are you doing for work? What do you think you want to do for work? Because we get out, and like you said, I was a bigger portion probably internalizes. I was that guy. I got out. I felt like I lost my community. As soon as you leave that base that last day, most of the time your coworkers don't talk to you anymore. They just like, this guy's gone. Like, and so you just feel lost. And then, so for me, yeah, I had trauma. I had childhood trauma. I had trauma in the military. I get out. I was a cop in the military. I'm like, okay, what do I do now? I didn't think about like going to school or trying another career at the time. So I go become a cop. So now I'm stacking more trauma. And I was just in this proverbial hell of being angry, upset, and frustrated all the time because my direction was actually no direction. I was just in a constant survive state and not thrive state. So what do we, how, because like I'm on the other side, you're on the other side. I'm sure you had a hell of a lot more horrible shit happen to you that happened to me in my military career. But we didn't off ourselves. We didn't take we probably, I don't know about you. I had some very, very dark fucking days. I had times where I had a gun in my hand. I had times where I was thinking about taking pills. I had times where I was like, this is it. I can't do this shit anymore. And I found my way. So what do we tell these veterans, these police officers, or even people in high stress positions that like they just don't think they can take it anymore, to tell them, look, just one more day. Like, what advice would you give somebody, especially as a high operative, someone that was high up in the military as far as a skill set?
Yeah. I tell them exactly what I tell them right now. You're better than that. Plain and simple. You're better than that. But you don't believe it. Analyze, don't criticize. Got that from Louis Simmons. Analyze, don't criticize, right? Take a self-analysis, look in the mirror every single morning. And if you have to do the old checklist from the military, right? Something that's good, that's positive, that's going on, something that's bad, and something that I can work on to make that bad into a good. It's process driven. We're process oriented people. We're goal oriented people. If you don't have goals, you don't have purpose. So create some, even if it's out of thin air, it doesn't matter. What can you do to improve? They say in the Marine Corps, always improving the foxhole. What can you do to improve the foxhole? There's always something. There's always work that needs to be done. Always. In some way, shape, or form. Whether it's mind, whether it's body, whether it's spirit. Always, always, always. And it's a constant fight. Once you realize that the fight's every day and you have to hit the ground running every single day, that should be your purpose. It's to win the fight in whatever form it comes in. There's a distinct enemy that's out there that's trying to kill all of us and wants us death, hell, and the grave. There's a way to beat it, right? And we got the manual for life. And I tell them too, here's the Bible. Go read it. You're going to find out how to make things better. It's in there. Apply it, learn it, and follow the one person that was perfect that we had an example, and learn from all the other individuals within that book that hosed up and then how they fixed it and got redeemed. Because no matter how dark you are, no matter what it is that you did, no matter what it is that you're doing, there is a way out, and you're better than that. Period. And once they start realizing that and believing it, then they start, it's literally just like a mental etch-a-sketch. And all right, we're going to go in the right direction now. But that's all they need. It's just like in combat, man, with the kid that's sucking his thumb and screaming for mommy. All he needs is a good boot. Hey, man, we need you. Let's go. And it's like, and then they reset and go, and you don't have a problem with them anymore. It works just like that, man. It's the same thing. People just need a little boot to the head to get them going in the right direction, and then it's okay. And then, of course, it's telling them that nothing is going to be perfect. You're going to mess up. Bad things are coming. But how are you going to equip yourself for those bad things? Right? I'm not going to go into a massive place where I know there's a whole bunch of enemies. You start a 3-block war. If I'm going to a place that I know is going to be hot, I'm not going to take a slingshot because I know I'm going to get in a gunfight. I'm going to arm myself based off of composition, disposition, and weakness of the enemy. but I have to be prepared. And then I have to train. It never stops. Mind, body, spirit never stops. But you have to tell people that. They have to remind them. With vets, you have to remind them. With other people, you have to tell them, this is what's going to get you right. And it's gonna be bad. It's gonna hurt. But you've just got to do it, because that's how you're going to get through it. And every single thing bad, every tough thing, every hard piece of whatever it is that's coming your way, every challenge that you overcome, if it's meeting, public speaking, whatever, everything is part of the forging process. The blades, the biggest, strongest, sharpest blades come from the hottest and most pressurized forges. So every little thing that goes wrong is a building block for you to get stronger and tougher. It doesn't get easier. You just get better. But you have to be consistent. And that's where people run into problems. So it's just pushing through and having that mindset of nothing's going to stop me. Here's my goal. This is me getting to it. When I hit that goal, that's a milestone. Cool story. Enjoy the process. It's not always about the prize. There might be one, there might not be one. But that milestone, if it's a big one or a mini one, getting to a big one, it's cool story. What's next? You never find the top of the mountain. And you can't ever be satisfied. And once you realize that, you're just going to get better. Yes, you got to rest, recover, regenerate. You can't always grind, but you rest, recover, regenerate so you can be ready for the next challenge that's coming. It's all part of it, man. It's just like with the gym, right? It's what, 15, 20% of it. The other 80% is the recovery aspect. And that's another thing with veterans too, they don't tell you about how important sleep and food is. They tell you to suck it up. I call it the supernova effect, right? A star burns its brightest just before it dies. People are the same way. They teach you to go, 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 go. They don't tell you that in order to go and be better, you have to throttle back and rest, recover, regenerate. It's a toxic environment, and you're not going to get the most out of people. What you're going to get is burned out and bitter. And most people do. And then you learn to suck it up and stuff away all your emotions and your feelings, which it's okay to have those too, but you don't know how to deal with any of them. Then when they release you into the wild, that's where stuff goes crazy.
Yep.
That's where you get a coach, you find another vet that's doing good, and you get them to go, yo, here's something to get you going in the right direction. Or if they're successful enough, bring them in. But bring them in under and hold them accountable. That's another thing too. I've noticed in the civilian world, there's no accountability, right? The businesses come in. I always told this Marine Corps thing, right? Expect what you inspect, right? So you go to a company and they've got this hiring process. I did this too, man. I did business optimization for a tech company out in California. And I was like, let me see your hiring process. And it was more of a, if you were breathing, you get the job. Only thing requires a pulse. I'm like, yo, man, you need to have, I was like, your standard is so low, you are going to get what you're asking for. And I told the CEO, I was like, I walked in, did a little assessment, less than, 5-10 minutes, which by talking to a few people, I'm like, you can fire 5 people right here on spot. And this is a company that on site only had like 35 people.
Oh, wow.
Right. But all the rest of the people were remote all over the place. Right. But on site, I'm like, you can 5 people right now. And they did. And in 2 days, saved them $90,000.
Wow.
And improved processes. But the thing is that I also had to go to the CEO and go, you know why why you have a problem down there? It starts with you. And that's the thing too, is that people don't know how to talk to CEOs. And that's what, again, I could care less. Nobody's a freaking superhero, man. Ain't nobody wearing a cape. Everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time, just like everybody else, right? I don't care about your status. I don't care about your name. I don't care about how much money you're worth. I don't care what kind of perceived power that you have. I do not care. If something's jacked up and there's a way to improve it, or there's a way to, I'm going to tell you, because that's what you hire me to do, right? Hold you accountable and show you what accountability is. So that way you can start holding your people accountable. And then when was the last time you got your freaking fat butt out of the chair and went down and talked to people? I just say it's sports teams, right? I'll go in front of a sports team and be like, all right, I don't have to say who's the higher but quarterback. All right, man. You got a backup kicker? Okay. When's the last time y'all hung out? What's his wife and kids' name? You ain't a good leader. You don't know your people.
Yep.
Right? Say the same thing with CEOs. Who's your number 2 guy? I'll keep it inside the triad or the round table, right? The front office. Of those people, COO, CFO, when's the last time y'all hung out? Just to shoot the breeze. Go in there and talk to police departments, right? Talk to fire stations, all first responder people. I go in and talk to them. I was like, look, when was the last time, police chief? When was the last time, sheriff, you went on patrol? Right? When's the last time you went and talked to your guys, not during roll call in the morning? When was the last time you went out and shot with your people? Right? If they don't know you, they can't trust you, and you can't really necessarily trust them. You're leading from an ivory tower. You're leaving from waxing a chair with your rear end instead of leading from the front like you should be doing. So giving that group accountability, right? Which you're literally supposed to be serving and protecting the public. It's a whole other ball game with that, which I actually just partnered with a guy, former cop, with a different breed, and we're actually going down and starting to talk to police stations and sheriff's departments, man, to try to get them on the right. And it's like, what's driving you, man? And dealing with first responders, you know this, man. You were in both worlds. Dealing with first responders is very similar to dealing with the military.
Yep.
Also, mindset works with athletes too.
Yep.
Once the last down is played, once the last basket's scored, once the last goal gets hit, game's over. What now? What? Different consequences, obviously, different levels. No reset button in combat, but at the same time, it's like you dedicate your entire life to this one thing. You let that become your identity. Then what? There's going to be an end. And if you're an athlete, you could get hurt, especially in football, rugby, stuff like that. Lacrosse, you don't know when that's coming. Basketball, you can land on a rock. Anything can happen. If you're playing a sport,
Definitely,
it can happen. What happens when something catastrophic happens? Are you ready? So it's just about how they think, and then their perspective on life. And usually guys will turn around, man.
So why then, because I never understood this, and I did this myself, when we get out, so in the military, we have our brothers and our sisters, we have our tribe, we have our command, we have the people we know that in a firefight or when the shit hits the fan, they have our back. Those ones we do hang out with and lean towards. Then why, when we get out of the military, do we just like kiss all that shit goodbye and we don't? Because I know I can go to my veteran groups on Facebook and other groups, and as soon as I start talking about being better, like everybody disappears in a cave. It's like veterans don't. There's a lot of veterans out there that they, for whatever reason, gave up or quit. They don't want to be better. They don't want to work out. They don't want to fix their mental health. They don't want to fix their marriage. And I've never understood with this, we only have one life, one shot. Why would you just want to be miserable all the time?
Usually it's because something else is driving it. And that's what you got to dig into, is figuring out the why. And sometimes they don't even know because nobody's ever asked them.
Right.
It's, you good? Yep. How you doing? I'm fine. Okay. Cool. Nothing around you says you're fine. Your actions and what you're telling me does not say that you're fine. That's a conditioned response. So here's the deal, bro. If you, what was it on Tommy Boy? First thing is identifying the problem. Step 2 is washing it off. So you got to identify that there's an issue, and you don't, because you get told that if you have issues, you're weak or you're going to get taken offline, which in some cases that's true. Right. But the thing is that it's not suck it up and don't ever deal with it again. It's suck it up for now so you can deal with it later, but you still need to deal with it, whatever it is. Right. But you go the Christian route, give it all to God. It's all good. Battle's already won. Right. Which makes you happy. You can have a dumpster fire of the world burning all around you. I don't care, man. I know what's happening in the end. I know who's on the throne. That's called joy. There's a difference between joy and happiness. Right. So that's a whole other separate conversation. But the thing is, they got to understand something's wrong, and they got to identify with that. And if it takes you to give a little bit of tough love, then do that. The thing is why it doesn't work on social media forums is the same way with like cyberbullying and stuff like that. Well, how do you get rid of it? Off button, shut the computer, and then it's done. And then real life has to go happen. Show up at that cat's doorstep and it'll be a different story. And it might be worth the trip.
And I think that goes back to what you said earlier too, like, especially for us as men, if we don't have a purpose, if we don't find a purpose, especially out of our time in service, that's a very scary, dangerous place, because I mean, a man without purpose essentially is nothing. Like, there's nothing there, just a shell of a person going through day to day. And then once again, that's why I think there needs to be better things implemented in the process of getting out, so more people can find their purpose, because not everybody wants to get out and say, okay, well, I was a cop, so I'm gonna go be a cop. People want to do different things with their life. I mean, it took me 47 years to figure out that this is what I need to be doing right now, versus being on the streets, running around chasing bad guys. So, I mean, it is what it is. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then I want to get back with Tommy. I want to talk about being a man, mental health, you know, being a older athlete. I know you're not old, but older athlete.
Hey, man, however you want to look at it, a number is a number, but I am that number, whatever that means.
Bro, I am like, I'm impressed, bro. I haven't spoke to 47-year-old athletes, and like we were talking backstage and stuff. I try to kill myself in the gym, so to speak. I never thought about, you know, at my age trying to be a power lifter or a CrossFitter. Well, we won't talk about CrossFit or whatever else
something
is out there, mixed martial artist or whatever. So, I mean,
yeah, it's a goal. It's a goal, and it's something to work towards.
And that's what we're going to talk about. You know, Coach Rob says a lot of times the ABC is always be challenging yourself. So when we come back, we're going to get on that topic. We'll be right back. They told you to stay comfortable. You chose the battle. Battle Fitted is for the few who live by discipline in the gym, in the mirror, and in the mind. This isn't just fitness, it's transformation. From our coaching and mindset resources to apparel that speaks without saying a word, to keynotes that shake rooms awake, we train warriors, not followers. No fluff, no shortcuts, just real work, real change. If you're tired of talking about it, prove it. Lock in your first workout, grab your gear, book the mission at battlefittedbrand.com. All right, guys, and we're back talking with Navy SEAL Tommy Richardson. So far, it's been a great conversation. So growing up, did you always, because you seem like you're a pretty competitive guy, and I love that. Growing up, did you play a lot of sports? Were you competitive by nature? Was your family like involved in making you competitive? Did the SEALs give that to you? I want to know what led to you now currently saying, I'm going to be an athlete and going to be a power lifter.
Sure. It's a long road, man. But I think it was just the beatings I took as a kid. I mean, you talk about mental health and suicide, right? So I had a gun in my hand, had a watershed moment, you know, when I was 14. But I played soccer and t-ball as a, you know, kindergarten type, you know, just something to do, because that's kind of just what you did. And then sixth grade or something like that, picked up a basketball, and that became my sport. And then I also ran track, because I had an uncle that was a track coach, and he's like, hey, man, you got some legs on you. Let's see if we can turn that into something. So hurdles and long distance, and because I was long, tried discus and stuff like that. I weren't even good at it. Distance running I was pretty good at, though. But everything else, I mean, that's kind of where I learned competition. And then, you know, I started martial arts, but that was more to try to build confidence. And that was towards the end of beginning and moving through high school, and where the confidence started coming back, and to give me a little something to be able to fight back, because I was really like heavily like 80s style bullied back in the day. And that
Me too.
came in the form of, being beat on. Right. And then also on top of that, told you were nothing. So, bump, bruise, quit, tell you're never going to amount to anything. You're sorry. I mean, I look like a white Steve Urkel too, man. I mean, I was, I grew to 6'4" really fast. I was all legs, had the Coke bottle glasses, suspenders. I mean, I was a lightning rod to getting beat on. And it was everywhere. I got beat on in Boy Scouts, church choir. They try to drown me at the pool, which is oddly enough, that's where I learned how to get a breath hold, because I'd go down to the deep end and hold my breath, and they either coming with me or not. And more often than not, they chose that was it. And as I learned, you get lung capacity that way, right? Little did I know I was training for something later on. My my grandfather on my mom's side was a really rough and tumble old Texan, and he pushed probably too much abusively to his kids, and challenged them to go and do great things, but did it the old school way. But one of them, a couple of them chose Marine Corps, one chose Marine, and then he went on and had that relentless mindset. He went on to be in the hostage rescue team for the FBI, and he was actually a plane 1983 when it started up. And he did that for like 30 something years, but he was the Captain America. He was the hero of the family. And, I'd been told by multiple family members that I was a wussy, for lack of a better term, even though there is another one. And I just was like, all right, well, I need to go do what he did in order to get some kind of respect. So that was the main reason. That, and I had another uncle that was a Marine also. And I was like, well, that's what I'm going to go do. But he was intel, and the other one, come to find out, he ended up getting a big chicken dinner. So not exactly a good one to follow. But I got in, and I tell you, it was one of those things where the competitive nature kind of hit me. And I remember this one inspection where I was like, all right, because they was asking, what do you want? What's your MOS going to be? What's your MOS going to be? And just something hit me and said, I need to blaze my own trail. I need to write my own story and do my own thing and create my own roadmap. And that's when I said, infantry, that's where I'm headed. Like, if I'm going to do it, let's freaking do it. And this was 98. I mean, the war hadn't kicked off yet. So that's the way I wanted. And that's kind of the way I did it. But I'd say the competitive nature came from not wanting to get beat on anymore. And that watershed moment of, hearing an audible voice when I was taking a slack out of the trigger, saying, stop, don't do it. I got something for you. And it was the first time I think I was hearing from the Holy Spirit, hearing from God, man.
Wow.
And I was too stupid to realize it at the time, but it scared me. And I was like, gun down, here we go. Slack out trigger, go put it back in Dad's room. Let's see what we got. And then it was one of those things where it's like, all right, well, little did I know was going into an age-old Marine Corps adage of the beatings will continue until morale improves. I was back into the fire, man, and it was gang violence. I mean, I was in North Dallas, so it was early 90s. So a lot of the gangs had fled from LA over to Dallas, and they had come up to where I was going to high school. So there was a lot of that kind of violence going on. And I got beatings from there. And shop class was the first time I ever had a gun pointed at me. Dude pulled out a 38 snub nose and pointed it at my head.
Oh, wow.
I had guys doing lines of coke in class also. It was weird times, man. You'd see dudes getting hit with chains and locks, and like multiple guys on one or two guys out at the bus stop. And it's just
Holy shit.
You learn which ways to go and not to go, but always trying to, but yeah, when you bullet, you avoid the beatings. You know where the guys are at. Don't go to the restroom at this time. If you go in quick or find somewhere else to go. Alternate routes to class, alternate routes home. You know what playgrounds to go to. You learn to avoid those types of situations, man. But from basketball, that's where the competitive. I read Larry Bird's book Drive, and I'd grown up, always getting beat on. You put yourself into the comic book world, right? So you have your heroes like that, and it was the He-Man, and he's Optimus Prime with Transformers and G.I. Joe, and you pick your favorites out of that, and then Marvel back in the day. You pick all your favorites, and you're like, I could be that guy. or, ooh, that'd be really cool. But you like form this almost alternate reality just to kind of get you out of the one that you're currently in, right? Looking for that outlet. But it's just one of those things where everywhere that I turn with the Rocky, watching Rambo, and it's just, I started getting these dreams of, rescuing type people, right? To being the hero of the story and going out and doing the right thing and this, that, and the other. And that literally kind of led me into it. And I'm like, all right. And all those dudes and all those movies and all those shows, they all took beatings and they all just kept going. So it was like, oh, okay, well, we're just going to take the hits. Let's go. But be smart about it. And you learn strategy, tactics, and, you start understanding human behavior, which also played into the, we'll call it tactical questioning back in the, and just all kinds of stuff, man. And all of that stuff was honing me and getting ready for the job. And I didn't even know it, but it's just the good Lord knew what he was doing. Right. And he's let me go through all of this stuff to go through the stuff to be where I'm at now, to go and spread the good word and help people overcome things.
Yeah. My story, I guess, is similar but different. So I went to high school and I also played basketball. I also ran track and cross country. Those were
nice.
My big three sports. I actually ended up doing track and cross country in college. But because I was a knucklehead and wanted to compete, and my coach was like, no, you can't compete. I had a red shirt the first year. So for my for people that don't know in the community, when you go to a college on a scholarship and maybe you've taken some time off or they're not sure of your, I guess, skill set quite yet, they may tell you to redshirt, which means you can't compete in their events. So I couldn't run track meets. I couldn't run cross country races. I still was mandatory to practice with the team and do all the things that a team does, but they wanted me to prove myself. And me being a knucklehead and thought that I was top dog of the running world was like, okay, well, F you, and lost my scholarship because of that, which would later push me down the path of being in the military. But in high school, growing up in California, I was lucky enough. It was really weird. In high school, I was a pretty popular guy. I was well respected. Everybody that I went to school with, I pretty much grew up with from kindergarten all the way up through high school. So was cool with the gangbangers, was cool with the jocks, just cool with everybody. Like I had people in the course of my life say, you know what, you're like a chameleon because you just kind of blend in with everybody. I've had that kind of, I guess, experience. But when I got to the Navy, I got my ass whooped. I got my ass whooped on a daily basis. I went in 97. I went in 1997. I went in, I guess, the Navy version of infantry. I went in undesignated. So I went to my recruiter. I didn't know shit about the military. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have anybody to guide me. And my lovely recruiter goes, oh, when you go to boot camp, you can pick your job. So my dumb butt, not knowing any better, was like, okay. And I get to boot camp and they're laughing at me and like, you don't get to pick shit here. So went straight to the fleet, went to a little destroyer where at the time there was no integration with women. It was all dudes. And I tell people like this all the time. It was like being in prison. I was the 6'3", 120-pound weakling, kind of immature, wanted to stay at my parents' house for the rest of my life, didn't have any goals. And boy, was I taken advantage of because of that. And that essentially is what started down this path. And I like what you said about being the hero, because essentially that's where I first started learning about lifting weights. I was like, okay, well, if I'm in prison, I guess I got to be the biggest guy and I got to start fighting back. So started learning how to hit the gym, started buying all the flex muscle mags that I could buy and
muscular development, and all that,
muscular development and all the supplements from GNC that I didn't need.
Yeah.
And I started like just hardening myself. I was like, okay, I get, this culture shock. I have to fight to survive. And that's why I became a police officer, to help those that couldn't help themselves. That's why I do this, is to help those that don't know how to help themselves, that service mindset. And I think a lot of military guys, police officers, firefighters, teachers, that they have that calling. They're like, I have to help somebody somehow. So how am I going to do it? So we take on these responsibilities, not realizing that being in the military or being a first responder, it's fucking hell, and it's going to play hell on your body. It's going to play hell on your mind. It's going to play hell on your relationships. And, you know, the military is really good about equipping us with everything to be a killer, but they're not good about equipping us how to be a good husband or a good father, or how to emotionally regulate our stuff that we're dealing with. Because for the longest time as a cop, I couldn't turn off cop mode. And like you said, I let being a cop define me, and being a cop didn't define me. That was just my job. And it took a long time to get out of that mental insanity and realize, like, no, like, this doesn't define you. This is not your life. Like, this is just a thing that you're, like you said, just a thing you're doing. It's cool, but now it's on to the next thing. With being a athlete, a power lifter, and I don't know nothing about age groups. Do you compete in a specific age group? Do you compete in a specific weight requirement? Like, break that down for us a little bit.
Yeah. So right now I'm competing in USPC. That's the federation, United States Powerlifting Coalition. And they go from bottom of the barrel up to nationals. And I got to find out, because I got nationals coming up in November, but I got to find out if they feed a worlds. If they don't, I'll jump federation and go up to worlds. But yeah, I'm competing in masters division. And it's the 41 to 49 age group. And my weight class, I'm super heavyweight. So it's however heavy you're going to be. You have to be 308 minimum, but it's over 308 is the weight class. So I'm going against the big boys. And then, you know, who knows? We'll see where I go here, see how my body's still liking, because it seems like it wants to lose weight now. So if I have to jump down to 308 category and go try to dominate that, then I'll do that, man. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when I cross that mountain. I'm taking it one step at a time, man, and just enjoying the hunt right now.
So out of the, I assume powerlifting, they do what? The big three?
Squat, bench, dead. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your favorite one out of the three?
You know, man, it fluctuates, because it's sometimes it's like, hey, man, everything's feeling good with this. Everything's doing with this. Everything's good with this. I always like the deadlift, just because, to me, I know that there's a big thing between squat and deadlift, but to me, you recruit more of everything with the deadlift. And it's because now, granted too, there's all of it comes with fear, right? There's different fears, having the weight on your back squatting, but at the same time, picking it up off the floor. That's something that pretty much everybody can define with that hinging motion, even though squat is something that people do also, because you can do 6 things that the body's supposed to be able to do. But, to me, it's just, I recruit so much more from the deadlift than I do from any other lift. And I really enjoy that. Now, granted, you know, hitting PRs in any lift is fantastic, but for whatever reason, it always feels better as soon as you crest that mountain with the deadlift, because everything else just seems to fall into position, man, to where I like it. But I enjoy deadlifting a lot.
Yeah, there's something about, I guess, trying to pull that bar off the floor, and
Yeah.
when you have that, oh shit, it's heavy, and you start to see like the plates start to barely come off the floor, and you push down and dig down a little deeper, and you lock that out, and you're holding that bar for that second. That just feels really fucking cool. Sometimes you're like, man, I love this. Like, this is awesome. So, you know, being in the military, being a SEAL, you probably had lots of injuries. We talked behind the scenes a little bit about your shoulder. So, like, with your routines, with what you do for fitness and everything, how are you staving off injuries? How are you not succumbing to your injuries from the time in your service? You're lifting a lot of heavy ass shit. So
I try. The thing is that I'm not letting it doesn't let my mind cripple. I don't let my body cripple my mind, but I also understand too. And I tell people this whenever I give talks, is that it's heart set and mindset. And I feel like the heart and the mind, there's a super highway going between both of them. And if both of those are connected, therein you find the will, and the will is actually what's indestructible if you build it properly, right? That's the soul, the spirit, that's indomitable, right? This body's going to die. That's why there's such a big push and a big fight between the flesh and the spirit. The spirit is eternal. The flesh will die. So the thing is I just beat the flesh into submission, right? So figuring out how the body works. What is it, this temple that I was given? How is it that I can make it work optimally? And optimally, then based off of what my goal is to find out what my absolute strength markers are. Right. So it's find a system, which I did. I found a conjugate system through Westside, adapted that to my injuries, and it's done what most would say is miraculous and what doctors would say is impossible. I should be in a magnificent, spectacular amount of pain that nobody should have to go through. But because I build up the connective tissues, because I've honed in on it, I did that analysis and of my system, of myself. I said, these are my weaknesses. And I completely started everything over and adapted all of my accessory work to my weaknesses. All that started to carry over into the big three. And all that started to carry over into everything else. Now, initially my love was for strongman because I wanted to find a sport that closely mirrored what I was doing in the teams, but I was still able to do strength. So that's why I really loved strongman. And then that got taken from me when I got my shoulder injury. But it's just a matter of just finding what it is that your problems are, dealing with it, and not succumbing to them. It's find out, okay, if I can't do this, what can I do? All right. If I can do this with this side, I'm going to mirror that on this side and go, all right, this is how this works. This is how this works. Now I'm going to put a weight or a band or something in there and try to keep doing that motion. And then it's like, okay, I know what I can do. What should I be able to do? And therein becomes a biomechanics piece. This is what the human body should do. This is what a shoulder is meant to do. Right. And if you take it outside of that realm of what it's supposed to do, therein lies your opening for injury. So what is the optimal movement for that joint, for that muscle, for that body part, which is similar for everybody? What does that look like? And then one, can I do it? And two, if I can't, what's the ability and how far can I do it? And the other thing is, if I can't do it, is there a way to make it better? So for me, it was building up muscle because muscle protects the bones and the joints, right? And then the connective tissue keeps everything together. So doing all the exercises that are going to build those things up. And then through Westside, understanding what my weaknesses were, and then starting to plug holes. Because I tell them, like, every person is like a dam that's about to break at some point, right?
Right.
I could be sitting there looking at Hoover Dam and man, that is a spectacular piece right there. That's awesome. But if I go up real close to it, there might be cracks and water seeping. And it's just a matter of time before it's about to break. What the conjugate system does is it plugs those holes, right? And once you start plugging the holes, now you're starting to build something that's a heck of a lot easier to break, or a heck of a lot harder to break, right? And that's where their whole slogan of weak things break comes in. You try to bulletproof your body. And I noticed as another piece of doing that all of the pain started to go away.
Yep.
I don't hurt anymore. And it's fantastic. And that's what we talked about earlier, is that it's the opposite of what people think of. Oh, you're lifting heavy, this, that, and the other. Okay, cool. Let me stop you right there. What are the two silent killers that end up getting people in the end? Heart and the bones. Okay. Heart, you can work through capacity. I don't mean fast, far distance running. That's your thing. Cool. But you don't have to. I can do it through dragging sleds. I can do it through doing rowers, doing interval stuff. I can do it through plyometric. I can do it through lifting weights at high repetition and high volume. I can do that through taking less rest time in between sets and reps, and that gets the heart going. Now, bones. How the heck do I make my skeleton stronger? Can I do that? Yes, you 100% can. Osteoporosis. People take falls, they get hit, and when they hit the deck at whatever age that they hit the deck at, when they get up into their years, even now, what happens is that something shifts, something separates, and something cracks. Why? Because your bones are freaking dust because you don't do anything to them. Louis said this too, if you slow down, you go down. All right. So you have to do heavy resistance training because that's what causes the little teensy microfractures within your bones, to which when they heal, they recalcify. And guess what? They get thicker. And my DEXA scans are 100% proof of that. Right. I'm at like block 3.5 now. My bones are 3.5 times thicker than most people's at my age across the planet.
Does that make
Why?
you a bonehead?
I've always been crayons help with that one. But it's just like with fighters, right? Same thing with fighters. They have high, because weightlifters or most power strength athletes and fighters have really, really dense bones. Fighters, because they're taking hits all the time and all the training that they do, right? Wrestlers, same thing. But why? It's that heavy resistance training. That's what's going to help with your skeleton. Now, I'm not saying you got to go be a professional powerlifter, or you got to go be a professional strongman or whatever. I'm not even saying that. What I'm saying is that I don't care if you're a freaking housewife. I don't care if you're a stay-at-home dad. I don't care if you're a teleworker or office worker. It does not matter. Go do something. And then once something turns into goals,
Yep.
right? Because showing up is one thing. Cool story, bro. You showed up. Awesome. Congratulations. I can't even say congratulations. That's like step one, show up. Right. And this is literally the easiest part. Show up, and then it's try to figure out how your body works. Nobody's going to take care of you like you. So if you figure out how your body works, you'll figure out how it heals. And once you figure out how it heals, you'll know how to heal it when there's problems. Most of those acute problems and issues that you deal with trauma, what is it that causes healing? Blood flow. Well, how are you going to get blood flow into it? Do you get blood flow by sitting on your keister? Absolutely not. You get blood flow by doing what? What you were born to do, work.
So run, climb, jump.
That's it. 6 things that you're supposed to do: push, pull, squat, hinge, overhead press, and carry. Those are the 6 things that you're supposed to do as a human being, functionally. So all of your training should revolve around all those things. And if it does, you're going to be more well-rounded. You'll walk erect. And like we talked about before, right? We are a anterior dominated society. It means the front, not posterior chain. Posterior chain is the back. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. You have to train the back. And most people, that's why hunch forward, hurting. You can see that people walking around with that little knot in the center, right? Yeah, you can fix that. You can fix that, but to be able to walk erect like you're supposed to, because all that leaning, and you know what the other big problem nowadays is?
Cell phone,
right? There's your neck leaning forward, right? Okay, cool. Well, if you got to do that, or you got to be on your phone for work, awesome. But what are you doing to sustain that neck? If I'm looking at somebody and I can't see traps, that's a problem. Seriously, I mean, what are the signs that you're going to look for? Shoulders, traps. Those are the 2 things that you'll notice first to see if somebody trains, because that's the most visible. But then it's like, all right, well, if I have a more of a keen eye, I'm going to look at the side. Are you lean forward? Do you have a half moon, which most people do, which means they've been bench pressing the whole time and they got no rear delts, because it should look like a circle. And if it doesn't, well, your weakness is literally visible. If I'm looking at you from the side and I see that you have 80% quad and 20% hamstring, I know if you got no keister, I don't care if it's freaking genetic or not. If there's nothing going on back there, I know you got weak hips. Then I got to see you move. And that's just going to confirm it. And that's what I'm looking for as a coach, right? Doing an assessment. So, but for most people, it's everything in the back needs work. And you got to work that twice as much to catch up with the other side. But the funny thing is it all starts with that. Everybody goes, the core. You know, the core goes all the way around your body. It ain't just the front. And it's not just the obliques. It's the lower back.
Yep.
And that's where most of your problems going to sit. And if you're not going to a chiropractor, if you're not using a reverse hyper, it's a problem, man. But there's a way to fix it. You just got to find it.
You could do Supermans. You don't have to have the reverse hyper, but
dude, no, you can't. Supermans ain't gonna cut it. Supermans will actually freaking overextend your back and put you in a negative spot that's actually probably not going to help your spine and your pathology, especially if you don't have any muscle back there. Reverse hyper is meant for a reason. It got invented by a man that broke his back and didn't want to go get surgery.
Nice.
That's Louis Simmons. Right? He cracked his L4 and L5 by squatting, because the pins he pitched forward and the pins he set too low and it snapped. And then he broke it again. What was he doing? Good morning. He lost concentration in a good morning. Dude was laid out for like 18 months on the floor with his legs up in the air sleeping. and then eventually
Wow.
went up to a chair, right? But he didn't want, he was ornery, but he figured out, hey, there's something within my training that I can do to get better. And he got on a tool bench and he just leaned on it. And that actually with the weight of his legs, that caused traction. He's like, huh. Then he started moving his legs backwards and he goes, wait, I'm now noticing a pump in my lower back. And that's a whole other feeling that you're not used to, because you feel like something's wrong with your back. It's not, it's a pump.
Yeah.
Right. And then he's like, all right, well, I'll hang weight from it. And then, the strap, and hence the reverse hyper was born. And he went public because he saw what happened to Larry Bird with his back. And because that got him out of being professional basketball. And he said, well, if he had a reverse hyper, he wouldn't have problems with his back. He'd still be playing. So he went public with it. And now people look at it in the gym and they use it to rest their cups or, text on it, not realizing that that's probably the most important piece of equipment in the gym. I know it's in the lower back, whatever. I'm just so passionate about it. It just, because it saved me, man.
That's awesome. And that's, I think more people, I'm going to have to see, because I go to Crunch Fitness. I don't even know if my gym has it or not. So they may have the old one that's more like, it looks like a bench, but it's at an angle, and then you just kind of lean and you can pick up a dumbbell or a weight plate and you can still do the back extensions. You just can't kick your legs back.
Well, that's different, right? That can actually cause hurt more than help. You want the actual pendulum reverse hyper, man. But I mean, if you go to whatever town or wherever you live, if you Google powerlifting gym, more often or not, you'll get and look for something that looks like it's in a dungeon.
Definitely.
Not something that's pretty. Now I get that for the attitude piece, right? But what I'm saying though is that those pretty commercial gyms don't have them because they're there for money, right? They want to pump the most people in and put the most people out. And then this doesn't matter because it's about money. It's about greed. It's not about people, right? That's a whole other problem. But what I'm saying is that you get those singular powerlifting gyms where, yeah, it might be a little bit dingy, might be a little bit dusty, but the thing is that that's going to have equipment that's going to get you right. You just got to get over that whole it's scary thing, because everybody's at the gym for the same daggum reason. I'm not going to make fun of anybody at the gym because you showed up, but you're trying to improve yourself. Why would I, and who would I be if I made fun of somebody trying to better themselves? And if I see somebody trying to make fun of somebody else, I'm going to go stop them, right? You're there to get better. So when you go to the gym, no fear. No fear. False evidence appearing real. That's what fear is. Go get it. You're worth it.
Yeah, my strength and conditioning gym, I would have considered it like a dungeon gym. So I actually ended up in a warehouse, and I had the turf, and I had all the steel racks and all that good, the sleds and everything. It was such a wonderful thing. And it's kind of funny because I was the guy that I was the guy, like, I'm not going to squat, I'm not going to deadlift because of my back. And then when I got into strength and conditioning, and I opened a strength and conditioning gym, and I'm learning all this stuff about strength and conditioning, I'm like, why didn't I just fucking squat from the get-go or do a deadlift from the get-go? And I kind of like I like what you were saying, talking about like with the biomechanics and stuff, because that was like my specialty. Most of my clients were, I would say, older 30s, if not older than that. And the first thing, well, I'm not going to do a barbell squat. And I'd be like, I just smile. And I would just start them from that, you talk about filling the holes and the dam and stuff. I would just tell them, sit on this bench. Now stand up. Now sit on this bench. Now stand up. And I have them do that, over and over again for like maybe the first week. And then the second week, okay, now stand up with a dumbbell. And it was just progressing them little by little. And I think, unfortunately, I don't know if it's there anymore, but it's that gym culture of the trainer, like, no, you're going to do this and you're going to suck it up. And people just need the education on the mechanics of how their body works and how they were meant to do these things, and that if they can do these things. And so that's the thing. Like, I literally had a lady bawling, crying in tears. And I'm like, oh shit, like, did I fuck her up or something? And she was happy because she's like, my back doesn't hurt. And I'm, she's squatting a 45-pound plate on each side like it's nothing. And she didn't think like this was even possible. Like, so, I think more people need to listen more to their body. Like, obviously doctors are good for some things, and I won't ever like downplay, I guess, a doctor or a mental health professional or whatever, but you have to listen to yourself first instead of listening to social media or your parents or this person or Johnny down the street or your best friend. Well, this is what works for me. That doesn't mean it's going to work for you. You have to listen to yourself ideally first. And I guess, if you never did that, you probably wouldn't be where you're at today, right?
Well, I mean, the thing is that you got to pick and choose who you're listening to, right? If your parents or whatever, obviously you want to listen to your parents, but at the same time, there might be that thing where it's like, mom and pop don't know everything about everything.
Right.
So it's understand and be able to have discernment to whom it is that you have coaching you. And there's a few little things that you can go through, right? Because a coach is going to make you do things that you don't want to do because you really don't know what the best for you is yet. All you know is you like and don't like, and that's based off of societal, cultural biases or individual biases, right? The thing is that if you knew, you wouldn't need a coach, right? And nobody knows everything, even the coaches. But the thing is that coaching is such an easy thing to get into now that anybody can say they're a coach and they can suck and they could lead you in the wrong direction. So be careful. Is that person that is leading you down that path, do they know what they're talking about? What did their path look like? What did you do? If all you did was get a PhD and you're one of them egghead people, or you don't even look like you train, I'm not going to listen to you. And if you do and you're 20 years old, I'm not going to listen to you. You have no experience. What have you done? Who have you trained? Where is the proof in what it is that you're telling me works? Right? And then what are the questions that you're going to ask when you're training somebody? The first thing I ask somebody is, what's your blood work look like? That's my first question to people. And they're like, what? So I thought you were going to lift weights. I said, no. Me as a coach, there's certain things that's going to help me help you understand what optimal looks like. Not maximal, optimal. It's another Louis Simmons thing. Train optimally, not maximally. Maximally, you run into what I call the supernova effect, right? So what does your blood work look like? Because if you're a person that has low testosterone, male or female, if you have low testosterone, you can only expect so much results. Period. If you haven't started taking a look at your diet, what does your sleep look like? If you haven't, all of it plays in. That's why I say it's a Venn diagram of fitness. There's a Venn diagram to wellness and a Venn diagram I have for fitness, right? And fitness, it's sleep, food, and exercise. If one's smaller than the other one, then the other ones are bigger and they're going to overpower it. You want them all the same.
Yep.
Now, the percentages within them might be different, but it's the correct emphasis to put on it. If all of your emphasis is on the gym and everything else is garbage, you're going to stop at some point and you're not going to get what it is that you want, and you will not be optimal. If you have low testosterone, then there's certain bits of fat that you're never going to be able to get off of. And we have to go explore other directions, especially for military folks. They don't understand, right? Yeah. All that sleep and harm and stuff that you did could have your testosterone just dropping incredibly. What does your cortisol levels look like? How are your adrenals working, right? What's your estradiol look like? What does everything look? What are all these little markers? And help them understand what blood markers look like instead of it going in and going like, yeah, it's Egyptian. I got nothing. And then, instead of it being hieroglyphs and you trust in this doc who's probably overweight, that doesn't train, to tell you the way you need to be. Come on, man. It's an opinion. Yes, it's more educated. It's an educated opinion. But at the same time, if you're not looking at that and go, well, what about this? Because you got to understand is that they're looking at the puzzle pieces, one, that they already have, and two, what you've told them. If you haven't given them the entire pieces to the puzzle, guess what? There's going to be holes in that puzzle that won't ever be complete. But if you tell them these are the outlying factors of what's going on, that gives them a more complete picture. But the thing is that you might not even know. So all they have is the blood work. But I tell them, blood work, what's it look like? Okay, prior injuries, what do you got? Diet, what's it look like? Sleep, what's it look like? I'm going to say, because it's leading the horse to water, right? I can't go down in there and then hit them with a huge mallet and say, this is bedtime. Boom, hit the deck, right? What I can do is educate them on how do you sleep? How do you get better sleep? What does your sleep hygiene look like? Food. everybody thinks you got to go freaking, you never go full retard, right? Everything you got to go, everybody says full send. So if you do that, that's not sustainable. So what does your diet look like? And let's slowly start picking bad stuff out and replacing it with good stuff. Slowly. You know, how much alcohol do you drink? How many Cokes you drink in a day? How much junk food you eating? You know, and then that starts dialing into having them understand what macros are. Once they understand what macros are, then it's calorie count. All right. Then you tell them the ratio of calorie in versus output. You know, it's input versus output, calories in versus calories spent and burnt. And that's how you're going to lose weight. And this is how you're going to gain muscle. That comes down to eating, right? So, and then we'll start talking about the gym. All right. Injuries. What is you got? Is there anything that's going to preclude you from doing what it is that I'm going to have you do? Do you have any heart issues? Do you have any problems like that? If they don't know, I tell them, I'm not going to train you. When you come back to me with this, and that usually what gets people to go, but it's just like, I'm going to train you because you don't know any better, right? I'm going to tell you the way to go. And I'm going to tell you what right is going to look like for you, because I've done it to myself and I've seen it done and had it done by people that have been doing this for decades. So I got all the backing, and it's up to you if you want to listen or not, because it's your choice, right? I'm not going to train you just because you're paying me. I'm going to train you. And if you don't meet there's goes the standard, right? If you don't meet my criteria to take you on as a client, I'm not going to take you on, because I don't need the money bad enough to where it's going to hurt you in the long run, because you matter, not the money. The money will come. What matters is the people.
Definitely.
I got to make you right. And I go to bed, sleep soundly at night, knowing that I try to help you be the optimal version of yourself. And it's up to you if you want to choose to do that or not. Then we talk about fitness goals. What is your fitness goal? What do you want to do? I just want to get better at life. I want longevity. Sick. Let's do that. One of the things that I get most is people come back, I don't want to be you. I'm like, you're not going to be. You're never going to be.
It took years upon years upon years.
I was like, you don't have no idea what it took to be me, and your goals aren't mine. So don't think that a week after we start training, you're going to be 6'4", 310 and be able to pick up a lot of weight. You're not. But here's the thing, man, and that's what they don't understand. It's input versus output. I'm going to allow you to look better, and I'm going to make you get stronger and be the better version of yourself. Because the thing is, if you're still doing the work, but then the calories are staying low, guess what? You're only going to get so big. But what I can do is make you stronger.
Yep.
Because I tell people, I'm like, at what point in your life, name me one, nobody's ever been able to do it. Name me one time you ever came out of a situation and said, I wish I was weaker.
Exactly. There's no negative benefits to working out, like zero.
Only positive. You want to work right, you got to, and that goes back to the old days of what we were designed to do. We were designed to work. Just the thing is that work has changed. Not everybody's out working, for food and working land. That's a physical job, physical manual labor job. Some are, because we have to have that, but right. Most aren't. So we have to find things that are going to work. Why do you think there's crazy things like grounding? Man, go outside. That's all you got to do. Go outside. Barefoot, walk around outside. Guess what? You're going to sleep better. Go soak up some morning sun. When the sunrise, when it hits the horizon, go outside, stand in the grass for 10 minutes. You'll be astounded about what that's going to do for your body. Little things, man. Little things. Even stuff telling people about cardio, right? Cardio can come in the form of walking. It's fine. But I say, look, all I need is 30 minutes out of your day. How many meals you eat? 3. Cool. After you eat, go take a walk. 5 minutes out, 5 minutes back. That's it. Do it every meal. Watch what happens. Eventually, we're going to get more, but just start to eat. Start easy. You don't go full send. You don't go all the way straight out the gate. You find something that's sustainable. And it doesn't get harder. You get better.
Yeah,
you're going to get better, and you can handle more load.
I've probably
be able to do that.
I've probably talked on, God, I don't even know how many podcasts now about talking about the benefits of just going for a walk.
Hard, like, man. Big.
the barrier to entry for fitness is so low. I think people just get mucked up on the details because, you know, they see all the social media and the TV, and they just get brainwashed by everything to the point that it's information overload, and they don't take action because they've just consumed way too much information. So they never actually start. And I always tell, so everything you just said as a coach, besides the blood work, I've never had a client where I've had to do blood work, but everything else exactly the same. And I think that just comes with experience, and asking the right questions. Even as a personal development coach, I had an older client who he worked high up in the government for quite a while. And when they had all this job issues, they just canned him out of the blue. And he lost his identity, like, once again. So the job was his identity. He lost his identity because he thought he was the job. And I just started asking him different questions, like, how do you want your kids to perceive you? What do you want your daughter to think of you in the next 5 years? You know, like, more in-depth personal questions, not like, what do you want to do for a living now? And it got him thinking. He's like, holy shit, no one's ever asked me these questions. You have to ask the right questions to get the right answers. And health, fitness, nutrition, the first pillar of fitness in my coaching, it's everything. You can't, I will never tell someone, oh, just go work out, but eat like shit, or, you know, eat healthy, but don't work out. Or no, to be a optimal human, you have to do a little bit of everything. And I think a lot of times, I like what you said too about the nutrition issue. Like, people don't realize how much they consume and how much they overconsume. And if they just cut things back, like you said, a Coke here, or don't go to fucking McDonald's every week, and you take a walk and you make those small changes, you will literally see changes in your body, feel better, and lose weight just by making small macro adjustments. It doesn't take this big, huge, grand scheme of things right off the bat. No, you have to take those small steps forward, 1% better every day. And then that compiles over time to get people to where they want to be. And it's that same freaking myth I hate about that still goes on today with women, like, oh, I can't lift weights because I'm going to become big, bulky, and strong, and I'm going to look like no, you're not. No. You're going to be happy. You're going to be healthy. You're going to be able to play with your kids. You're going to be able to fight off somebody if they're trying to steal your purse. You're going to be a healthy. Health is wealth, man. Like, you're just going to be a healthier human.
Yeah. It's hard targeting too. I tell that to the guys, right? You look at any interviews by any type of child predator, things like that, and they're hunting their prey. What are they looking for? They start with the dad. If he looks like a threat, they go somewhere else because there's so many freaking gooey looking Michelin man walking dads walking around, right? To the point to where people call it dad bod. Look, man, you got to be that example. If you're fit, your kids will probably be fit. Because it tells so much about a person. If I see a fit individual, right, that they're disciplined, that they can take something and make a goal, and they can follow it, and they can be consistent, and they're going to show up because they care enough to do so. You learn so much about somebody in the gym. You learn so much. I can tell everything I need to know about somebody by one workout, man. I know exactly what you're made out of. Period. And that's just like you said, coming from experience, right? But you're there to make yourself better. And me as a coach, I'm there to guide you on the path to getting better. Am I going to be different from others? Yeah. Am I going to be hard on you? 100%. Am I going to be rah-rah cheerleader? Absolutely not. You will not get that from me, right? Because there's always just the next goal. That's it. And because I'm training you the way that I train myself and the way I keep going, because it works. It's the next goal. If you look, God, it goes back to Sun Tzu, man, Art of War, right? Win the fight without having to fight. If you look like you can fight, there's less of a chance that someone is going to fight you, unless you go to a bar and then alcohol does weird things to people. Judgment goes out the door. But walking down the street, less likely to get attacked, man. And that's you and everybody around you. So that's one perfect reason where I said focus externally, not internally. Train. One of the reasons you should train is to be able to protect those people around you, especially if you're a guy. But if you're a single mom or a gal by herself or something like that, if you're a jacked lady, people are less likely going to attack you because they know you've been through something.
Definitely. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I never understood or couldn't stand, like, there's a difference, I guess, between being a little overweight and still training and being capable, but obese or just completely out of control. And I never understood that with law enforcement, because the first thing they teach us is presence, and then verbal. Presence being how you walk up on somebody, how you look in uniform, how you speak to somebody. And I could tell you that, yeah, did I have to go hands on a couple times? Sure. Did I ever have to physically, like, violently, extreme, prejudicially harm somebody? No, because most of the time when I walked upon the scene, my uniform looked good, I was in shape, I'm giving them direct eye contact, and I'm talking to them with respect. I'm not yelling and screaming at them, and they see that presence and verbal, and like, oh shit, I'm not going to mess with this guy. And so I'd never understood that, like, why, as a firefighter or a police officer or even a paramedic, are you going to jeopardize your life by being sloppy as shit? For what? Like, it's crazy to me. And we probably could do a whole another episode on being a man. We've touched on a lot already. So before we get into the last question and get ready to close this down, which I don't want to, I want to keep talking, man. I've enjoyed this. Where can people currently find you and link up with you at?
Yeah, you can just email me, Tommy@divinesavagery.com. Website's getting fixed right now, but that'll be back up soon, www.divinesavagery.com. You can hit me up on LinkedIn at Tommy Richardson, Facebook, same thing, and Instagram, either at Divine Savagery or at raise.your.horn.
And all this stuff, guys, I always say this every show, that will be linked in the description when this airs on the YouTube. Man, it was a pleasure speaking to you today. Like I said, you're a man after my own heart. The only thing I could have done better is been a SEAL, but that wasn't in the cards for me. So we won't worry about that.
Be the best you, man. That's all you can do.
Hey, I try to be the best version of myself that I can be each and every day, whether good, bad, or ugly. So, I'm in a very good place. I'm in a very good place, and that's not easy to say as a veteran and a former police officer who, like, went through hell and back. And it took a long time to get out of that negativity loop and be operating in the darkness. And guys, to my public, this is what the Battle Harder podcast is all about. This is what I talk about with veterans, with women, with coaches, with whoever. We all have trauma, and Tommy's trauma isn't greater than mine. My trauma isn't greater than him. We just figured out that life is short. You might as well enjoy life. You might as well live it to the fullest. You might as well do things that make you a force to be reckoned with, so to speak, whether that's in training, whether that's learning to fight, learning how to handle weapons. You don't have to be in the military or be a police officer to do these things. You should be a dangerous force to be reckoned with by nature, because the other option is just being soft and weak. And it's not about this mindset of, I'm going to kill people and I'm a bad. No, it's about protecting, like you said, protecting your family. Especially as a man, you should protect, provide, and preside over those ones that you love and held dear. That should be your mission. That should be like your life. And if you're walking around the earth looking sloppy, head down, eyes on the phone all the time, no situational awareness, going through the drive-through, cramming all this horrible food down your gullet with no activity, no action, your kids are going to follow that path. Your wife's going to follow that path. Like, I can't tell you how important just the foundations of basic fitness and nutrition is for making you a better person, a better human. And what's funny, as we have this conversation, Tommy, I actually did a post a couple of days ago on Instagram that the barrier to being a tough man is very low right now. It doesn't take much to be a force to be reckoned with. And I saw this as, so I'm a full-time student. As a veteran, I take advantage of vocational rehab. I'm in school for communications. I'm actually supposed to graduate summertime next year, so I'm close. I'm so tired of school. I'm almost done. But I'm on college and college campus. I'm looking at these kids and I'm just shaking my head because I'm like, I'm 47 and I'm the biggest dude on campus and I could smash the heck out of anybody that comes my way. Not that I'd want to, but I'm just like, how am I 47? I'm bigger, tougher, stronger, and probably meaner than 90% of kids on this campus. And just watching how they walk, how they interact with people, what they wear. I'm just like, wow, this is the society I'm leaving my kids. Like, man, we got a lot of work to do in a short amount of time.
Yeah, it's I'm always one of those guys that, you know, everybody's got a puncher's chance and the enemy always gets a vote. So, you know, I try to treat everybody as if they're a threat. But looking around and seeing morbidly obese kids, it's so unfortunate, man. And want to do nothing but help them and get them right. And if that's you being the old guy walking around the fit guy, then you know, it's be open to talk to them. And I've found that the more kind and gentle, and you know, I mean, I'm a loud, high energy guy, but at the same time, you know, if I'm talking to you, then I'm, you know, coming at you, listening, and be and a shoulder if you need it, because some people let things out differently. But then it's okay. You got that out of the way. Let's keep going. There's another way, and you just gotta find it. Yeah, the bar is low for tough, but the thing is, man, is that tough's up here. If they're down here, then they haven't hit tough yet. They ain't there. So any step forward is going to help. I don't subscribe to that 1% every day thing, because in 100 days you're done. Hard pass, man. It's just baby steps, one step forward in the right direction every single day, and eventually the journey will get you there. And love the hunt.
Definitely. And guys, I'd like to venture that I know me and probably Tommy too. If you see us and we probably look like, and Tommy more so than me, I thought I was a big scary guy. But if you see us, just because we have this look on our face like we're going to murder you, doesn't mean we won't talk to you, we won't help you, we won't lend a helping hand if we can give you some sort of advice or something to help you be a better human and go forward in the right direction. And that's just based on our experience, because we've lived a lot of life. 47 years of life is a lot of life, and we both lived it very hard. So if we can have an opportunity to help you and talk to you and give you some guidance, whether that's joining the military, getting into fitness, finding a gym, whatever, don't be afraid to talk to that person. You'd find that some of the bigger, scarier guys are actually the nicer guys that are more willing to help and put you in the right direction. Would you say that to be accurate?
Yeah, I would say the nicer the person is, the more he's had to go through, and he knows what he's capable of. And those are the ones you kind of want to watch out for. It's the ones that are trying to de-escalate the situation, or the ones that you don't want it escalating for.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I saw that all the time as a police officer. Didn't want to frickin' keep my eyes off the guy that wasn't really talking or answering questions, was just kind of observing the situation, waiting for his opportunity to strike. I always ask my guests this. Unfortunately, I got to end this show. What is your definition of turning pain into progress?
It's that you have to do it, right? Turning pain into progress. You need people that are willing to run towards the gunfire, whether that be literal or figurative. You need to be able to chase the pain. Don't run from it. It's going to be there one way or the other. It's better to face it than to have it find you on something that's not on your terms. I always say in the teams is don't go chasing the dragon will find you. It's the same thing. Chase things that are painful, chase things that are hard, do things that are difficult, take the high road and the hard road, and you will be all the better for it. Not just for you, but for those people around you.
just like we say, guys, and I've said it before, choose your hard. Take the path that is going to offer you the greatest return on your investment in your life. And most of the time, that's going to be the struggle and the discomfort. Remember, when I say turning pain into progress, it doesn't necessarily mean mental, emotional, or physical pain. It means that discomfort, that area where you're like, oh shit, I don't feel too comfortable about this, but you know it's that thing you have to do, go through, or be in to be better. Tommy, thank you so much for joining me. Amazing conversation. Like I said, I'm sure we could talk about a million other things on other episodes.
Sure.
Guys, like, comment, subscribe. The Battle Harder podcast is all about helping you be the best version of yourself, telling these stories of resilience, telling these stories of people that just decided not to give up and they decided to be the best version of themselves, or they're trying to be the best version of themselves. If this episode lit a fire in your ass, reach out and let us know how either Tommy or me can help you, because that's what we're here for. We have service mindset, and I just want to leave this world a better place before I leave it and take my final breath. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And as I like to say, every time I close out an episode, remember one thing: that's to always be fit for battle. Thank you.
You've just heard another real comeback story on the Battle Harder podcast, where we turn pain into progress and remind you that rock bottom is just the starting line. If today's message hit home, share it with someone who needs to hear it. You might just change their life. Subscribe, leave a review, and join the mission at battleharder.com. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay dangerous, and keep battling harder.